The story begins by telling us that between 1945 and 1962, the American government conducted 331 nuclear tests. These experiments caused intense radiation to spread across the area, severely affecting the local people. However, even today, the government refuses to acknowledge this damage. The scene then shifts to a gas station, where a man armed with a gun is searching for a girl named Ruby. When he returns, he finds a mysterious bag lying outside the door. He yells, "I can't help you anymore," and takes the bag inside. Inside the bag are a couple's photo, some jewelry, a cell phone, and a severed human body part. Just then, a car stops at the gas station. It belongs to Bob and Ethel, who are on their way to San Diego to celebrate their 25th wedding anniversary. Joining them on this trip are their daughter Lynn, her husband Doug, their two younger children, Brenda and Bobby, and two dogs named Beauty and Beast, while Bob fills the tank. The old man at the station asks where they're headed, commenting that very few tourists come this way. Ethel explains they're just passing through the desert to San Diego. The man warns them that there's nothing worth seeing in the desert. The family ignores him. Suddenly, someone steals a jacket from their car. One of the dogs barks and runs into the station, prompting Lynn to follow it. Inside, she notices the same mysterious bag filled with stolen goods. At that moment, the old man returns and realizes Lynn has seen the contents of the bag. Trying to distract them, he gives Bob directions to a supposed shortcut that will get them to San Diego 2 hours earlier. Taking his advice, the family drives through the remote desert area. Brenda immediately feels uncomfortable, and both Doug and Bobby struggle with the heat. Doug begins fixing the AC with Bobby's help. Meanwhile, Ethel notices that the map doesn't show anything about the road they're currently on. Suddenly, sharp spikes emerge on the road, blowing out the car tires and causing the vehicle to crash into a rock. Fortunately, everyone survives. However, the car's axle is broken, leaving them stranded. They believe the flat tires were due to the heat, not realizing it was a trap. Just then, their dogs run off, and Bobby chases after them. Unbeknownst to them, a mysterious figure is watching from the hilltop. Doug tries to call for help, but finds no signal. Bob decides that he and Doug will split up to search for help. Bob takes a gun from the car and hands another to Bobby, instructing him to protect everyone until they return. As Lynn watches the hills, she notices a flash of light but doesn't think much of it. Meanwhile, Brenda opens the van door and one of the dogs bolts out again. Bobby goes after it. After searching for a while, Bobby finds bloodstains, which lead him to the body of his beloved dog killed. He panics and runs, but slips and falls into a ravine. Losing consciousness, a girl named Ruby finds Bobby. She's wearing the same red jacket stolen earlier and seems to want to help, but her brother orders her to leave him. Back to Dugofter. Walking for hours, he stumbles upon a large pit filled with broken-down vehicles. Some have bloodstains. It's unclear how so many cars ended up there. Inside one vehicle, Doug finds a teddy bear, which he takes for his daughter and moves on. Meanwhile, Bob returns to the same gas station. Inside, he drinks some water and looks for the old man, but he's nowhere to be found.
Ow.
He tries to call for help, but the phone doesn't work. Then he sees the same bag with the jewelry and severed body part and grows suspicious. Alarmed, he grabs his gun and begins looking around. On the wall, he sees newspaper clippings revealing the truth about the nuclear tests. Bob realizes they've walked into a trap. As he's about to leave, he hears the old man muttering drunkenly, and then watches him shoot himself. Suddenly, Bob hears eerie noises and panicking. Fires his gun and runs toward the car butt before he can get in. A man attacks him, beats him unconscious, and drags him away to the mines. Back at the van, Bobby regains consciousness with Ruby. Still beside him, Brenda searches for him, and when Ruby hears her, she flees.
Ow!
When Bobby wakes up in the van, Ethel treats his wounds and asks what happened, but Bobby says nothing. Just then, they hear noises outside and Bobby urges everyone to stay inside. One of the dogs breaks free from its chain and runs off again. Bobby grows increasingly anxious. Doug returns and tells them the road ends 5 kilometers ahead. The old man had lied. Tension builds as Bob still hasn't returned. Doug suggests they wait a bit longer before going to search. That night, everyone falls asleep except Bobby, who remains disturbed by what he witnessed. He steps out to search for his dog again. Suddenly, two grotesque men enter the van. Bobby runs back and tells Doug that something's wrong, someone's out there, and they killed their dog. He had kept it a secret to avoid scaring everyone. Suddenly, they hear Bob screaming, he's been set on fire alive by the cannibals. The group runs to save him, but the attackers inside the van begin to assault Brenda. Doug and the others try to put out the fire, but it's too late. Bob dies. Hearing Brenda scream, Lynn rushes inside the van and sees her daughter being assaulted, but attacks the intruders. But one of them threatens the baby and then shoots Ethel when she arrives. When Lynn tries to fight back, they shoot her too. Hearing the gunshots, Doug and Bobby run back. Bobby shoots at the attackers from behind, but they escape. Doug finds his wife dead and his daughter missing. Ethel also dies from her injuries. Now, only Doug, Bobby, and Brenda remain. Suddenly, the family dog Beast attacks one of the cannibals who had been watching them all along. Bobby, consumed with rage, wants to go after the killers, but Doug stops him. Then they hear something. At the van door, it's Beast, returning with the walkie-talkie of the man he killed. Over the radio, Doug hears his daughter crying. Voice responds, "Jupiter will end it all." The next morning, Doug and Beast head into the hills to find the child. They come across a cave filled with graves and eventually reach a hidden village. Meanwhile, Brenda sets a tire on fire to create a smoke signal. Then Bobby rigs a trap using fishing line. Inside the village, Doug discovers from a sign that it used to be a nuclear testing site. Now abandoned due to radiation, the place seems haunted. He spots a generator and peers through a window, seeing his daughter inside. He hides in a car as a man carrying a body passes by, then locks Beast in the car and sneaks into the house. Inside, he finds a woman watching TV. He quietly tries to grab his daughter, but the woman attacks him. Meanwhile, Brenda and Bobby place their mother and sister's bodies in the car to lure in the killers. Doug wakes up trapped in a container. He breaks free and hears someone humming. He finds a man in a wheelchair with a giant, deformed head. The man explains that they were forced out of their town and bombed even in the desert. Doug asks where his daughter is, but before he can answer, another man attacks Doug. Beast escapes from the car and kills the attacker. Doug hides in a room, but is found again. The attacker cuts off two of Doug's fingers, but Doug stabs him with a screwdriver and kills him with an axe. He kills another man and then Beast finishes off the man in the wheelchair. Doug enters another house and finds two kids playing there, the children of the cannibals, but his daughter isn't there. One of the mutants prepares to kill the baby, but Ruby tries to stop him, pushes her away. But when he removes the cloth from the baby, he finds a pig instead. Ruby had hidden the baby elsewhere. Hearing his daughter cry, Doug spots Ruby running with the child. Meanwhile, Bobby and Brenda see their trap has worked. Bobby grabs his gun and finds his mother's corpse missing. Following blood trails, he is horrified to find a man eating her body. Fires, but quickly runs out of bullets. Brenda releases the LPG inside the van, and both hide behind a rock. As the attackers open the van door, it explodes, killing them. In the final scene, Doug stops Ruby. She gently hands back the baby. The attacker follows and starts beating Doug. Ruby sacrifices herself by jumping into a ravine with the attacker. Saving Doug and his daughter, back at the camp, Brenda and Bobby kill the final cannibal Jupiter. Moments later, Doug returns safely with his daughter and Beast. The family embraces, relieved and emotional. We see another figure watching from the hills. The movie ends here. Asterisk, asterisk, let me know in the comments which movie you want to hear about next. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more such survival stories. Asterisk, asterisk, let me know if you'd like a title, SEO description, or hashtags for this film explanation.